Hi, I'm Sophie, and I haven't seen a lot of films.
Hi, I'm Paul, and I'm here to help with that. And we are
SP, Film Viewers.
So, darling, won't you stand by me?
Yeah, I married you, aren't I? What do you want?
That sounds like something I'd say.
What? I'm morphing into you, that's what married life is.
Yeah, you know the song.
I do.
And also the film that we're going to be covering this time.
Well, I don't know that, but yeah. And you let me actually pick this one, so if it's my fault, it's rubbish.
Well, I thought I would
throw me a bone.
yeah. Cause I went to like some list of stuff like thinking it's like been a bit a sort of harsh-ish with what things are covered. You kind of like semi enjoyed some of them, so
Yeah.
I'm thinking right, okay, like you actually what you'd want to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've got a feeling you probably will. I thought that about After Sun, but
I don't think you knew what After Sun was.
No. That's by the by. But this one, I think it's best way I can sort of describe it is it's Stephen King adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
So we covered stuff like The Shining, obviously.
So it's going to be rubbish.
And Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, all rubbish films. No, not going to enjoy this whatsoever.
But there's no horror element to it.
Yay!
It's kind of like it's more like a coming of age story, I guess.
You said this to me and I was like, what does that even mean?
Well, like how
Coming of age doesn't mean you're a teenager.
Yeah, and then there's like a life-changing experience as a child type of thing, and then impacts your life, I suppose. That's what I mean by that.
I thought you meant like coming age as like, oh, it's going to come, like, I don't know, popular now or something, like the way you're saying it.
Okay. No.
It's like, I don't know what you mean.
Yeah. So I think of it as like the first portion of it, the new one. I know you've seen that in the past, or Stranger Things without the sci-fi element. I
like
guess.
Stranger Things.
The chemistry they have like that in that group of boys.
Yeah.
But it's all boys, but
no L.
No. And also to note, it's the same director who we've talked about a film in the past, which is quite different. I guess it's the This is Spinal Tap. The mockumentary thing. So
okay.
Yeah. But don't take that as personal. Don't take that as like, oh, that sours the expectations of thing.
Yeah, no.
But no, it's a very good film. Anyway,
okay.
So I think you like it. But I'm going with the IMDb synopsis. It's a bit more brief, which reads: After the death of one of his friends, a writer recounts a childhood journey with his friends to find the body of a missing boy.
Why does he die?
Well, you find out in the film.
I knew you were going to say that to me. Like, I don't want to watch it until I know why he dies. He murdered.
It's a mystery. It's part of the adventure.
Sophie doesn't do surprises. I don't know how I feel. I'm like, okay. I'm trying to watch. There's a little on Paul's tablet thing here. There's like a little video. I just saw a gun.
So I think maybe going in sort of like on the lines of how, not quite how Shawshank Redemption was, but
okay. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
But it's not as long, is it?
No, it's not. It's an hour and a half.
That's alright.
Or under, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Nice tidy
yeah,
story.
Yeah.
So,
that's okay then. Yeah, I'm on board now.
Okay.
You pulled me back in. Well done.
Okay. Okay, well, we'll be back shortly with our thoughts.
You ready for school? No. Junior high. You know what that means. but next June we won't be split up. What are you talking about? Why would that happen? It's not going to be like grammar school, that's why. You're taking your college courses, and me, Teddy, and Vern, well, we'll be in the shop courses with the rest of the retards making ashtrays and birdhouses. You're going to meet a lot of new guys. Smart guys.
And we are back. Haven't seen Stand By Me. What are your thoughts?
Not a great start, is it? I don't truly know. I feel like the title makes it feel like it should be more of a relationship kind of Stand By Me, like a couple. And normally the song, that's what I would refer to. Obviously, I know I wasn't going into that, but I felt like the friendships were going to be a lot stronger.
Oh, you don't think that came across that way?
Just how the ending pans out, like, it makes me think, well, you can be really close friends when you're young and you drift apart when you're older. But Stand By Me is kind of like, to me, when you get married, it's like a through thick and thin.
Yeah,
you'll be
always
together.
Been there, friends for life type of.
And I feel like that's kind of not actually portrayed at the end. And I thought with Chris and Gordy, that relationship, that I could see them being friends for a long, and I think they were.
Yes.
But sadly in life you do drift apart, and people come into your lives for reasons and they serve you really well for a good period of time, and then that's that chapter done. And
I know. But I think it's pretty down to how Stephen King's written the novella that's called The Body, not Stand By Me. So I feel like within his writings there, it's kind of like a bittersweet kind of way about it, rather than like everything was all happy and they all had great lives kind of.
Like, don't get me wrong, I can't imagine all four of them staying friends and being really close. Like, I'm not actually friends with any of my school friends, which luckily you are.
Yeah, I was thinking about this, like, obviously because it was really weird, because obviously, like, there was that part when you did go to middle school, but then they kind of ruled out that system after 2 years, so then it's like,
well, you mean
just
when
go
you're
straight
old, you go to middle school.
Yeah.
I never went to middle school, I just went from primary to high school.
To high school, yeah. Or grammar school, whatever you... Yeah. So, I was kind of like going back thinking, like, the dates of when I was like 12, 13. I'm assuming it would be when like year 7.
Yeah.
I would think. So luckily for me, obviously, shout out to Alex and Tim, who are good friends I still keep in contact with them from school days, everything. So that it kind of shows that you can still stay friends with people who are younger, because the last quote of the film, and obviously we're kind of getting more to the end of the film than we are the rest of it, but where he says, like, Gordy writes, I have never had any friends later on like the ones I had when I was 12. Jesus, does anyone? So, yeah, I'd say I'm kind of lucky in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Have, like, friends and still kind of maintained that.
So was it Tim and Alex that you had, like, in year 7? They were like...
Yeah, we were in the same class and everything. Yeah.
And then Gren was year 9, was it, that he came along?
Yes.
And that was like your circle then? Was there 4 of you then? Or was there some more of you? Or I'm just trying to think.
That's the consistent, throughout. Yeah, I mean, there was other people from school, but we didn't really hang out after school.
That's why I'm trying to think of these 4.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to go to you, Paul. Who is Gordy? Who's Teddy out of your group? Who's Verno? And who's Chris? Did you have a Chris?
We did technically have a Chris.
Yeah.
Who's Gren?
I don't know if Gren is kind of Chris's persona.
Well, I mean, we didn't really have like a, in quotation, chubby friend who of like that who like hung around.
Would you be Gordy? Were you the? Or was Tim quite bright as well?
Tim is quite bright, yeah, but I don't know. I wouldn't really, because they all.
You're like, I don't want to offend my friends. I wouldn't really
categorise. categorise them in that way. It's kind of a different thing, because it's more like they're whole American styling of it, with all the smokes and everything, because we didn't do that. Like,
I hope not. Going back to when I was in school, obviously I did have friends. Like, I'm not like saying I didn't. And I had a quite close niche of friends, but you always had a favourite, and you can see that within Chris and Gordy within this relationship.
They're too strong, and they're the main two ones they focus on story wise. The development, because obviously they're the ones who are having the sort of like you're focusing on what the conversations they're having, like when they're walking along.
They're more deeper and more meaningful instead of like just jovial joking around.
Yeah, and stuff. Yeah,
and I feel like you do have that. You have like somebody who you can connect with. And you have these other people in your group, but you actually just have a genuine favourite. And normally it's kind of reciprocated back.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of, though, for me is I'm lucky. I always think my best friend is my sister. So even though when we were 12 years old, I would absolutely want to tear her eyes out, you kind of grow to love them as you get older and appreciate them.
Goes the opposite way.
Yeah. Appreciate them more. But I think what this film does give you is the naivety of being young and how nice it is to just
not have any responsibilities as such.
Be so carefree a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, when a kid's not really going out into the wilderness to try and find a dead body, but...
No, but like just the practicality of it. Like, okay, we're going to go find a dead body, but then nobody brings any food.
Not much money, yeah.
Yeah. And you don't overthink about these things. You're just like, oh, I want to do this. Right, okay, let's go and do it. Instead of going, okay, I want to do this. Right, what do I need? What should I take? When should we go? How do we organise everybody?
Organising, now as you're older. When you're a kid, it's more, you're carefree and you're just like, right, there's certainly more when there's summer months, like when it's just sort of set. It's kind of like, just go out inside and play and do whatever, really, but just be back for tea time.
Or lie and say you're sleeping at somebody else's house and then... Yeah.
I think so.
It did make me miss being a child.
Yeah. It feels like one of those, like summer vacation type films, if that makes sense. But it's definitely like a coming-of-age story, but it's...
It did feel weird of, obviously, the older than they are, like, obviously smoking. I was like, oh, okay, I understand it's like, it's trying to replicate 50s and stuff like that. And back then, probably children, were smoking at like 12 and 13. It was like
probably not supposed to, but yeah.
And even like
bombing cigarettes from
in the 80s and such, they would, and probably still today. But it just seems a bit strange watching it on TV,
right? When
now they shouldn't.
Oh yeah. But when it was filmed, it was okay to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to wonder how the actors were as well. Like, trying to represent a 12-year-old, actually, how old were the actual actors themselves?
Yeah, I think they were of sort of around that age, probably. But I obviously, talking of the actors briefly, the kid who plays Gordy, I said, do you know who Will Wheaton is? And you were like, yeah, he's from Big Bang Theory. I love that's like the one thing you kind of remember when I say like a name of somebody. You know me like, who's that?
Well, no, but Sheldon was always like his nice enemy. So like, I remember Sheldon using Will Wheaton's name.
Yes.
A lot. So it was hard to forget. So when you said it straight away, Sheldon popped into my head.
Okay. Wheaton.
Yeah. So it stuck there. I like Gordy actually as a character, I do. But I would say my favourite is Chris.
He's played by River Phoenix, who sadly died when he was quite young, 23.
What?
From a drug overdose. But he's the brother of, Joaquin Phoenix. He played in the Joker. Yeah, the Joker film.
Right. Okay. Yeah. The Joker.
Arthur Fleck. Yeah. In that. Yeah. That's who Joaquin Phoenix is.
Is he the older brother or?
I think he's got many brothers.
Oh right. Okay.
Yeah. Siblings, but So he's
That's quite sad. That is.
But
Chris as a character within this, I feel like he's the underdog. His family is looked upon as inadequate and quite low level kind of citizens. the like thieving and such, and he just really wants to better himself. And even like the dinner money story where he steals dinner money and then he gives it back, but he still has to be off for 3 days even though he's given it back, and the teacher benefits by buying something for themselves.
I know, yeah.
And it's like
shitty, yeah.
If that was another kid, they wouldn't have done that, but because I'm from this family,
get away with it, pocket the money, and the reputation precedes you kind of thing, really. So the other two boys, the kid who plays Vern, I looked up, like, I was surprised, oh yeah, he's that guy, Jerry O'Connell. In later on in, like, when he's grown up, it's like, the only thing I kind of remember him from, like, his filmography and stuff, is Kangaroo Jack. I don't know if you've...
No, I've not seen that, but I don't think I want to.
It's like a comedy type of
I
thing.
feel like I wouldn't enjoy it.
But Teddy...
He's unhinged, Paul. Yeah. Like, there is literally seriously something wrong with this kid.
Yeah. But he had a pretty good career in, like, the within that 80s spell of when movies came out, because he was also Corey Feldman, his actual name. So this film came out in 1986. 1984, he was in Gremlins. He was a kid in that.
Was he?
Yep. 1985, he was in The Goonies. He was one of the kids in The Goonies.
It's everywhere.
You remember us covering The Goonies, don't you?
I do, but I can't actually picture this kid in The Goonies. It's
as unhinged as that, yeah. And following from this, I haven't seen it myself, but Lost Boys.
Peter Pan?
No, I think it's a vampire film, but...
Come on, that's what they're called, aren't they?
Yeah. But
I mean, it's not a stupid thing to suggest, like, it's part of the Peter Pan film. Wow, so he did well for himself. So he's the only one, and obviously Will Wheaton. I don't know what else he did, actually. But...
a lot of Big Bang episodes.
A lot of Big Bang episodes.
And I was in Star Trek: The Next Generation. But...
Yeah. Don't talk to me about Star Trek and Star Wars. That's why you've got friends.
So yeah, it's I mean, they all do pretty good jobs as they're portraying the kids.
Yeah,
I think,
100%. You've got obviously Verno, who's the scaredy chubby cat kind of. I don't get him, actually, to be fair. And I know you're going to say, oh well, Sophie wouldn't have a story, but he's the one listening underneath the house trying to find his pennies.
Yeah.
And then he goes to his friends, oh, do you want to see a dead body? And then initially when he said it, he thought, oh, I want to sound cool.
Yeah.
He regrets it. And it's like, but this whole story, and obviously I know if he hadn't said it, there wouldn't be a movie, but was all caused by him.
Yeah.
And then he whined like a baby the entire time through it, but didn't realise, well, this was your idea. You wanted this.
I know. I think, like I say, he was trying to sound cool, because I think it was more like because they were like picking on him.
Backfired.
Jabbing it.
But no, it is funny, isn't it, how things like that, when you're little, do escalate.
Yeah, the
quite quickly.
Things, yeah.
Whereas like now as an adult, you wouldn't dream of.
Just have the hormones and temperaments are just on high, aren't they? Really.
For me, it was a bit strange them wanting to go see a dead body. I didn't get the lure of that.
It's because it's someone they knew as well.
Still, I don't think as a 12-year-old girl I'd want to go see a dead body. Like,
no,
the thought of a dead body is not...
You couldn't... I don't think it would work the same way if it was all females cast wanting to try and, go out in the woods camping. That wouldn't work.
Well, I think they could, but I just don't think they'd be going for the same reason the men were. There'd have to be something else out there that was...
Like what?
Magical unicorn, I don't know. Not a dead body. I don't think they'd be going out of the way to see it.
No.
Don't really know why anyone would.
Well, the reasoning for them was like, oh, they get on the TV, radio, or something like being like, oh, we're the people who found it.
What actually happened to the boy?
He got hit by a train.
So he was on the railway tracks.
Yeah.
So he was being stupid.
So out of the four of them, is there anybody in particular that you don't really gel with, or you just find irritating? Or
yeah, I'd say Teddy is the worst out of all of them. He's not really rationalising thinking. He's just kind of charges on. He doesn't really think of his friends as much. He's quite a bull in a china shop.
Mm-hmm.
for example, with train tracks where he's wanting to do the jump, thinking he wants to look hard and cool, trying to impress, but actually his friends are not happy with him doing that.
No.
And this feels like there's a couple of scenarios where he kicks off, causing more of a knock-on effect than he needs to.
I think it's all the case with all of them, to be fair. They've either got fathers who are abusive in some way, or just
I know
have
he's
no
gone
respect.
through a lot.
Like his ears been burnt on the stove and everything, so it's like, yeah, I understand that. And the Milo, the one guy who runs the junkyard or whatever he calls his dad out as being like a loony or whatever, and so that kind of triggers
aggression.
Yeah,
but he acts like a loony. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like even his own son acts like a loony. So wouldn't you think rationally, like, oh yeah, he's called my dad a loon, to not
but
loon out?
You can't. It's not quite that simple, is it? You can't just be, oh yes, I see your point.
Yeah, but
and
just be a bit more rational thinking.
It's the way that hot-headed kids can get
hot-headed boys with
testosterone and just like, you can't say that about Dad, even though like he did what he did and all that kind of stuff. He just
idolizes him still.
Yeah,
Chris is the best. He is. Like, he's my underdog within this. He's kind of the one that I root for the most. Gordy, he seems quiet, he seems reserved. Obviously, his brother's passed away, which is a very handsome dishy.
Young John Cusack, yeah.
Yeah. Never seen him so young.
Yeah, no, I'd kind of forgotten he was in the film, actually. I thought,
a wasted talent there that's not in it for long enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, so, yeah, his brother he kind of idolises, but so does his dad, and it's like all he cares about in like with the football aspect. And so I do feel sorry for Gordy in that sense, because like he's really trying, but his dad's just not interested in what he has to offer, what to bring to the table. It's all about his brother Denny, who passes away, and he also has that dream when he's at camp, and it's like at the funeral scene, and his dad said to him, "Oh, put his hand on his shoulders, like it should have been you." It's like, it's like, oh great, that's I think that's probably a Stephen King trope anyway, like, writing parents who just don't give a damn about the kids. And
Why have kids if you don't care about them?
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think it kind of reminded me a little bit of you and Joe, the age difference. So obviously you're
7 years.
7 years. So Gordy's like kind of round when you're like would have been a teen.
Yeah.
Joe's roughly kind of little wee baby still.
Of course.
And I think that's kind of that relationship with the brothers kind of reminded me of you and him. Obviously not favoritism within your parents, but more just that age gap, but still being able to get along so well, which is lovely to have. And Gordy, you do feel for him in a sense, but he's the one who he brings water. He's like, right, okay, well, there's a local store nearby. What can we buy with, what was it, £2? I've wrote it down.
$2 or something, yeah.
$2.37.
Yeah.
You'd be lucky if you could get a sandwich now for £3.
Might get a bag of crisps.
I don't know. Was the world better in the 50s? Like, women probably not.
I feel like this has come up a lot recently.
I feel like money-wise, like what you could get for your money, but there was loads of jobs out there as well.
It was just a lot easier.
It's more simple time. Not everyone wanted to be an entrepreneur.
No, an influencer, no. It was all just manual jobs.
Do jobs.
Yeah. Deliver papers,
Yeah.
Just meat distribution.
We didn't have everything
whatever,
automated or
a
computer could do it for it.
The hardware store or whatever,
Yeah. I think this does bring you back down to kind of normality a little bit within the film. Like, there is hardly no technology. Yeah,
this wouldn't work today because with mobile phones, you'd be like, oh, just call for help or whatever. You can't, if you're going on a trek, your parents would be like, where are you? Why aren't you home yet? Kind of thing. Or like, you told me you were at somebody so-and-so's house.
But I've just spoken to him and
exactly.
you're not.
It wouldn't work in that sense, so you don't really see that. So this is kind of like of the time, but it's kind of nice to see, obviously, that scenery that's the location it's based in. I said, like, if there was a place I would want to go visit in the States, Oregon sounds like a good place, and it seems to be. I would assume that this is actually, maybe surely partly filmed in where it's set, I would think, but it looks really nice.
It is beautiful. It really is. It does seem one of those places where you're in the middle of the countryside, basically, kind of woodland, all
Forests,
landscapes.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want to go trekking on my own, though, or within the woods around.
Go camping.
Yeah. I don't think so. I wouldn't be able to do what they just did, like laying there. I'd need a tent or something.
Yeah. Certainly in the States, probably more all the creepy crawlies and what else, and wolves in the. I do hear some like coyotes in the.
Even though they're
forest.
like, I think it's a woman screaming, and I'm like, no, that doesn't
mate.
sound like a woman. No.
No.
Let's go on to the other gang as well.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't understand them. I felt initially that they had killed the boy.
So it's Vern's brother Billy and his friend Charlie who are talking about this when he obviously hears them underneath the house, whatever. Yeah, they bring up the body story, but they can't call it out because there was a car theft that they were involved in, so they can't have any heat on themselves for doing that. That's why it's like got to keep it quiet.
Hush.
But it's
Made
not
it sound like they'd killed him.
Yeah, no, it does
Initially.
seem that way, doesn't it? Yeah. But
and that they didn't want to kind of reap the rewards because it was them that had done it.
Yeah, draw attention to themselves. Yeah,
just don't know why there's people out there like that in that like kind of gang environment that are just awful and
looking for trouble and like doing that. Oh, I'll swing by and hit mailboxes and.
I don't know. I think I'm getting old because I got annoyed. It was like, why are you damaging someone else's property? They've paid for that. Like they work hard to make a living, to afford a mailbox, and now you're just being a twat with no responsibilities, knocking it off. It's like
it's writing characters that you love to hate, I guess.
Yeah.
Really. Although there's not really a thing at the end really where it's like, you deserve what you get kind of thing. They kind of just
dwindle off.
walk away. They stand up to them, the lads, because obviously Gordy has a gun that Chris got from his dad or whatever. So at least it wasn't they got beaten up like saying something like it or whatever.
No, I agree. And at least they kind of stood the ground.
Yeah.
But also you don't really see what they turn into at the end, like what becomes of them or what repercussions or anything like their life choices happen.
But it's not worth noting really because they're just.
I'd like to think that they just didn't,
succeed. They just became losers. Yeah, worthless.
Good on Gordy for sticking up for his friends because I think Chris mainly does that. He's like the stick up for his friends and support them and try and do the best by them basically. And he's the most beefy kind of one to seem to handle himself a bit better.
I guess, yeah.
Gordy's like your nerdy kind of geeky, smart.
He wants to be a writer and everything, yeah.
And I think what's really nice with the relationship that Chris and Gordy have got is Chris really belittles himself and doesn't think he's good enough and doesn't want to be kind of holding Gordy back because he knows what Gordy's potential is. Yeah.
That's why he's saying, like, you get out. You don't want to be held back by us three kind of thing. You fly.
Yeah.
Leave this place. Don't worry about us type of thing. You're going places. You've got potential. We're nothing, really. But your Gordy's trying to be a good friend. Like, no, I see value in you guys.
Well, more Chris, I think, than anyone.
Perhaps more so. But
yeah.
So
it seems quite strange because the amount of time that we actually see the dead body and how long it lasts, and to say that the whole trip is to go and see the dead body, there's not much really after the fact of, because they do anonymous call, it's kind of they don't reap the rewards of being in the Telegraph or in the news for finding the body. So the whole trip was kind of pointless.
Is that how you see it?
Well, what have they done?
I think they've kind of like opened up to themselves a little bit more, and like that's the growth of.
Don't get me wrong,
doing the adventure.
Grown,
that's the main of. It's not just what was the reward at the end?
No, but like the first intention of what they wanted.
I know what you're saying.
Is kind of counterproductive. They didn't get that.
I don't know, what would you want them to happen to be start dragging the body across country?
No, it's just like, what were their thoughts with that? They were thinking of building a raft and, like...
Until they got interrupted by the other kids.
Yeah. So that's what they were thinking of doing. It wouldn't have worked. But also, I have another question. Why aren't the police looking for the dead body? Why are they just going, oh, the kid's been... So how did they know the kid had been run over, unless the train driver said I've run over a kid? And how did they know what kid and the name of it if they hadn't found the body?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's just there's a missing person, but they don't know there's a dead body involved. That he's just died. He's just missing. That's all. So that's all they have to go on. So they don't actually know that there is a body.
Would you want to see a dead body?
Not if I could avoid it. No.
So you won't go out your way to see a dead body?
No, not even if it was younger and like, ooh, that sounds cool.
What if I died?
If I had the news that you died,
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be particularly happy, would I? But
would you want to see me dead?
Well, they normally have to ask you to come in and say, like, can you identify this as, the person who's, your wife or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yes, I would have to, if it was like you'd been horribly mangled or something. I
hope not. No, but I know what you mean, and I don't think I'd be very good at seeing a dead body.
Well, you're not when you see, like, roadkill on the side of the road or whatever, and you're like, oh,
I get quite upset about that, don't I?
Yeah.
The worst one I've seen is a deer.
I don't think I've seen anything that large.
Because it's quite big.
Yeah. I haven't seen anything that large, no.
No.
There's, we're back to the campfire scene, and they're obviously...
With his story.
The story of David Lardass Hogan.
Yeah, I used to be a lard ass, so I felt sorry for him.
This character that was just, like, for some reason, just put into the mix of revenge story of
eating pies
and vomiting on everybody. Yeah,
just really childlike the way that it's thought of.
Yeah.
Like,
except for how Teddy calls Gordy out. I was like, well, what happened?
That sound. I knew you were going to say that because it's such a me thing.
Yeah.
It's like I was Teddy going, well, how does it end? Okay, he just sits there reveling in glory, but then what? And I was thinking, I saw you writing, and I was like, I already know what Paul's writing down there.
No, I was just writing about what Vern says. Like, did he have to pay to get in or whatever? It's like, no, Vern. They just signed him up, and it's like, oh, okay, the story's good then.
It's fine now.
As if that was the only querying.
I feel like he was kind of like Vern was the lard ass a little bit.
Yeah, to not the extent that was in the...
No, but I feel like that was kind of somewhat...
I don't recall that part of the story within the story with that, and it's like, I don't really know what that offers or anything. It's just like, it just seems funny because it's vomit. And
I think that's what it is, and it shows the naivety
yeah.
of them, even though they're playing around with a gun sat in the middle of the woods on their own. They're still quite naive and innocent.
Mm-hmm.
And find people vomiting on other people amusing.
Now that could have, again, if you were to take that in today's standards, that could go even cringe level, really over the top vomit kind of thing. At least it was kind of just a.
I would have hated it.
Yeah.
No, I agree. It does seem to be everything about it is quite subtle. It's quite simplistic in a sense with the way life is.
Uh-huh.
And I think I appreciate that side of it. I'm not in love with the film. I won't say I am, but it is kind of, you see the relationships growing, and I think it would be all right in a series as well. I kind of see where you're coming from with it being a Stranger Things, but not the upside down and everything, but the way that they are friends and they develop that way.
So you're saying this should have been longer as opposed to an hour and a half runtime?
Not just finding a dead body. I mean, it could be in a TV series where you see the friendship growing.
But through that, you're saying you'd want more of a character development
from
them. So theoretically, if you wanted for that to occur and more to get more out of it, you'd want it maybe a 2-hour film say.
Are they still just trying to find a dead body? Because if that's the case, then no.
I'm just meaning more like time to learn about the characters a bit more, the boys and how.
Yeah, but I think as well, seeing him grow a little bit, not just like a adventure.
One trip, basically, and then...
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So maybe like seeing... We hear that obviously Chris and Gordy kind of progress and go to college.
You'd want to see that.
Maybe that could have been a bit more within it. Or how the four of them drifted apart a little bit. Something like that.
Okay, yeah. Rather than just a footnote.
Yeah.
And then they, yeah.
I don't like how it ends.
Okay. Especially as now Chris gets, he did succeed, he became a lawyer, but...
I was really happy with that. Yeah, it was like, yay, go on, Chris. He became a lawyer, and then it was like...
And then he got trying to break up a fight, and he got stabbed and died instantly, pretty much.
Got stabbed in the throat and died.
Yeah.
And I was like, why? Why is that line there? Like, why couldn't we have just left it with Chris being a lawyer and being really successful? And then the fact that Gordy hadn't seen him for 10 years when they were so close. We're just a bit like, it's gone downhill now. What's the moral of the story? Apart from even though he still don't think he can make friends like he can when you're 12 years old. And I agree. I do think it is a fine age where you don't really judge people as much as you do when you're older, and you don't overthink, and you're quite innocent. And
do you think there's like a point when you get to a certain age, you kind of like, right, no more friends? I've got no room in my life for any more friends.
I think so. You do get to a
get
point.
New ones, unless you're swapping out.
Yeah.
Replacing them with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it gets to that point, and I think it's harder to build that relationship up with newer friends.
In later life, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I said we all grow. Our tastes in things develop differently, and so we can outgrow people. And things like that, it does occur within our lives. Or you just stay out of contact with people after a certain point, and people move away, and then you don't go. You kind of like, you may be reminded. Certainly easier now with like social media and stuff. You might used to be more so with Facebook. What's so and so doing?
Or it's their birthday, and you won't remember it's their birthday, but social media tells you that.
Yeah.
You act like a good human being.
Yeah, and just do the token, happy birthday, mate. And that's about it until next year. Yeah.
You're lucky, really. You are one of the lucky ones to have friends from school still. So you should think yourself very lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a good bunch as well.
Before we wrap up, a couple of other things that occurred. Firstly, with the conversation when they're around the fire, about the debate of if Goofy's
is a dog.
Is Goofy a dog? If Pluto's already a dog, and Mickey's a mouse, Donald's a duck.
But it just makes you think these are the important things about being a child. Like, this stuff really matters.
I can be thinking stuff like that these days.
Give over! That's because you have such an easy life and I do all the adulting. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, to that argument, it's more... You think about it like chimpanzees and human beings, it's just a different evolutionary aspect.
So you agree Goofy's a dog?
Yeah, I
do. Pluto's a dog?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just that, he's the chimpanzee.
So why isn't...
Goofy's the human?
Yeah, I guess.
Despite how, by his name, Goofy, he's not super intelligent, but Pluto might be maybe a little bit more if he put his mind to it, and then he'd become...
A Goofy.
He'd be anthropomorphic, yeah. But there we are. And the other bit was when and then that swamp water, and then they get out and all the leeches.
Oh, don't.
And I'd be like Gordy when it's like, oh, there's one on me
ding dong
balls, yeah, ding dong, whatever. To put it politely, and then it's like, oh, because I see the blood, and I probably would be like him,
No, I guess I don't blame him for fainting. I don't think I'd be great with it, to be fair.
What if, I don't know, if you had one on your lower region, or...
Well, I think that's even worse for a woman. It is. Oh, don't. You just creep me out.
Even just on the arms and stuff as well. But I said, there's something we saw recently, didn't we, where it was that joke was also kind of implied. Was it that? Was that Sandra Bullock film, The Lost City?
Oh, it was.
Channing Tatum, and he was like, I've got something on me, and he turns around and she's like, you've got like
Leeches.
yellow leeches on his back, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure it was in some other things as well.
I think it's a common joke, isn't it? It's an easy one like to do because like it hurts or whatever. And it's just disgusting anyway. And
yeah. It's not.
They
nice.
are vile creatures. Yeah,
They shouldn't really exist.
No, and I mean you get people as leeches as well. So
yep, you do in life. You do get some.
All right, it's time for the scoring.
It's me.
And it's your scoring.
No.
Yep.
I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it.
Another miss.
What's going on, Paul? Have you got like? Can I be awful to you? And say you're either losing your touch, or you've shown me everything good now that there's nothing else great there, or I'm just wanting more.
Maybe you are. I don't know. Maybe a snob.
I'm not being a snob.
I don't know.
It's not bad. It's not one like, oh yeah, put Stand By Me on. That's a brilliant film. It's not that either.
No, not even for the hour and a half.
Yeah, that's a good perk.
Yeah. But you admit that you'd feel like you'd want more, or at least a series based developing.
I like character development. We know this by now. But yeah, maybe a little bit more kind of at the end, or doesn't mean it needs to be longer than an hour and a half though. They could cut, like you said, the vomiting scene story out or something to give me that at the end.
Yeah, although I think that's probably included in the book, or the novella. So I don't know I would feel like it's probably closely to the writings. So the form follows the formula.
So character development a bit more. Chris died, which was a problem for me.
Not on screen, but
just knowing that he died, because I really liked him as a character. I feel like I was really rooting for him more than Gordy or anybody, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And then literally thinking he got successful to then be told he was dead within like the same sentence kind of peeved me off.
And then he died.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, okay. And I haven't seen him for 10 years, but now he's dead and stabbed, and like, right, great. Teddy is
loose cannon.
Yeah. And Vern is
comic relief-ish.
Yeah, kind of. A little. And it's just, I think, kind of brings you back to normal life and simplisticness, which you kind of crave and yearn without technology and being bombarded, and how you can get bullied by actual physicality instead of verbally being bullied, I guess. It shows like the not kind of the normal life of things, a little bit more simplistic than
good old-fashioned beating up.
Yeah, just kind
as opposed to verbal mental abuse.
I think mental abuse is worse. At least people can't see it.
Yeah, I guess.
If somebody comes home with a shiny black eye, you know somebody's been...
Someone's happened.
Yeah. So, overall...
I don't know which is worse.
I'd rather have a black eye.
Yeah. Yeah, because mental one lingers a lot more.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
So overall, I think, for me, it's going to be a 7. Just because it's no great, no rubbish. It's just there, isn't it? It's just a film that I've watched.
Put that on the movie poster as a quote. It's just a film that I've watched. Okay. I don't know. I mean,
I think I've broken you.
I to be fair, I'm not putting out like a really high score myself.
Okay.
But it's not. It's only one above. It's an 8.
Right.
But I think it's for simplistic, coming of age story with characters that you quite endearing. You know, in the whole boyhood aspect. You
Maybe
know, just
it's more
joking
relatable
around.
to you,
Yeah. Even
'cause
though
you're a
obviously, perhaps, but like I say, wasn't smoking or anything like that kind of stuff. But or really,
because his mum might listen.
or going off on wild adventures like that. I was kind of really reserved, so I wasn't really going out into.
I do miss kind of the thought of being little and going wherever the hell you wanted and it being all right. Like nowadays, you just wouldn't.
But also, where I grew up wasn't. I'm sure the same with you. You wouldn't really be going. Oh, I'm just going down the road and the thing. It wasn't really like an easy access to open fields where you could traverse and do that kind of stuff. So it's as nice as the location I grew up in. It wasn't. You'd have to trek a fair bit to.
I think they did, to be fair, didn't they?
No, but it's quite different from the scenery that they had to what we have. Yeah, so it's enjoyable to come back to, but I think it's just as it stands.
A film you've watched.
Yeah, one of many films I've watched, but good to revisit.
I won't go back in a heartbeat and watch it again.
Okay.
Your face, you were just like, what? I wouldn't.
No.
No, I've seen it now. Okay. I'm breaking your heart, aren't I? It's like, Sophie, what do you want off me?
I know. It's getting harder and harder.
I'm becoming more of a refined critique, that's what it is.
So, is that it?
Yes. Yeah. I know what I like now.
So, it's ever increasing challenge now to find those elusive 10s or 9s even at this rate.
Or an 8.
Yeah, seems that way this year. It's just the January
blues. Maybe it might get better in Feb.
Yeah, maybe. Even though technically it'll be Feb when this episode comes out. So.
Yeah, but we watched it in January, so we'll let it slide.
Yeah, that's true. Good thinking, Batman.
Thanks.
Right, so thank you very much for listening to this episode. And if you would like to listen to some of our other episodes, you could do so over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and wherever else you get podcasts from.
And if you haven't already and you want to follow us on social media, where you get to see me and Paul sometimes, everything that Paul buys, and a lovely white little cat called Arthur, if Paul doesn't say, then you can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, under the handle SP_filmviewers, and you can get all that good stuff there. We also have a Linktree page on them, I believe. It's definitely on Instagram we do, where you can kind of click, see all the relevant information that we've got, and our Patreon is at the top.
Good segue there. Yeah, let's just get into that. Yeah, so to join our Patreon, like the lovely people we already have, the Patreon family, who are Mark from 100 Things to Learn from Film, Ben from Film Vloggers, our friend Jones at Weight Loss Jonesy on Instagram.
Go follow him. He's doing so many food batches, it is untrue. Like, if you're wanting an idea of how to prep meals and plan, then he's your guy. And the fact that he batch coaches on a weekend for the whole week, it feels like, I'm like, I don't know how they're that organised.
Smart planning. That's what it is, yeah.
It's food for thought.
Yeah. And of course,
my mummy, who you can't find anywhere on social media because she's just that cool.
Off the grid like the kids in Stand By Me.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to join them in having a shout out and also getting to pick a movie on the Patreon poll, you can do so by signing up on patreon.com/SP Film Viewers. So £1 or $1.50 a month, and you can be part of the little family.
And we'll shout you out every time we do a podcast. I mean,
yeah. So if you've got your Twitter handle, your own podcast, your
I feel like there
cooking.
must be getting the limit though if we get like a long ream of lists, because I don't think everyone's going to want to listen to the whole podcast.
Oh no, it'd just be like we'd
have to then whittle them.
Yeah.
Accordingly.
As it stands, yeah.
Yeah, we're all right as it stands.
Ramble a bit more. So yeah, it'd be appreciated if you did that. And it would also be appreciative if you leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, and wherever else they do the scoring system.
Yeah, any nice comments or feedback are always appreciated. And try and help Paul pick better films. That'd be great.
These are the classics, so...
No.
Stand By Me, Saturday Night Fever, Scarface.
Have you noticed the problem?
They begin with S.
No. They're all male-orientated.
Right. So it's got to be female-led or revenge story, is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying revenge story, I'm just saying maybe if we had a bit more female in it, I might like it a bit better.
Okay.
Like Kill Bill. Great film.
Yes, a revenge story.
Yeah, that's a revenge story, yes. But there's other films like Singing in the Rain, which is not an revenge story.
No, it's not, but
that's a great film too, so... I'm just saying maybe a bit more female orientated wouldn't go amiss.
No, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Okay. Right, I'll try.
Try harder next time, Paul. Try harder.
Well, thank you very much for listening to this episode, and we will speak to you next time.
Speak to you next time.
Bye.
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 Bye.